This week, we will make like Motley Crue and talk about those girls, as we cover two series with a almost entirely female cast. Those are the sci-fi series, Otherside Picnic, and the drama, Kageki Shojo. Otherside Picnic features its two mains visiting the other world, a hidden realm filled with dangerous denizens who make up the myths and folklore of Japanese legend. The true danger is that it is very simple to actually stumble into this other world with hidden access points hiding in everyday areas from elevators to shrines. But our two protagonists are Saruo Kamikoshi and Toriko Nishina, who met one day when Saruo stumbles into one of these entrances. After coming together to defeat one of these denizens, both are given an ability. Saruo's eyes turn blue, allowing her to see the hidden denizens, while Toriko's hand is made translucent, allowing her to touch the denizens without being affected. Essentially, Saruo can see them, and Toriko can beat them. This team dynamic doesn't go unnoticed as Toriko tries to convince Saruo to join her on future trips into the other world, as Toriko is looking for basically her ex-lover who went missing on a solo trip to the other world. Saruo decides to join her as she doesn't have much better to do, and also developing a shy little crush on Toriko, thus forming their fake lesbian team. I say that because there are some strong implications. Nothing really comes from it, but you catch my drift. As for the sidecast, you have Toriko's broker, who pays her for the items she brings because she's too scared to visit the other side herself, as well as a second vague lesbian couple. As for issues, I think this series lacks a lot of storylines, as most episodes are one-offs, with them facing a different myth or folklore. Which, by the way, I'm not super familiar with, so this kind of landed a bit flat for me, but I could see someone more well-versed in them enjoying their inclusion. As for actual storylines, you have the Find Toriko's friend plot, who seems to have a connection to some of the people being pulled into the other side. But it's more of a background story than an active storyline. The only major arc is the storyline involving the team of US Scouts getting stuck in the other side, which our two stumble upon during the midpoint, and help escort them out in the final episodes. I think there was a lot more you could do with this, as the end reward is parts that they use to make a vehicle to better explore the other realm. But they only go back to save them because Toriko remembers, oh yeah, we should go help them, I guess. I think tying in the storyline to the rest of the episodes would have been a much better storyline choice. Maybe they could be researching a method to save them, and stumble upon X figure so they have to fight them this episode, but that's my opinion. As for the series, I think it's fine. It has some decent ideas in its head, but lacks a strong storyline to apply it to at the moment. If this somehow gets a second season, a tighter focus on story would do it a lot of good, but as it is, probably a niche title for some at best. As for Kageki Shojo, it follows a group of girls just accepted to the all-girl Koko School of Musical and Theatrical Arts, which produces the actresses for the all-female Koko Theater Troupe, a legally distinct version of the real-life Otaka Rizuka Revenue. So if you're a theater head, this series is right up your alley, but I do not count myself among that crowd. So how does this series fare for those of us who are uncultured into the way of theater? It works fairly well in my eyes, as the make or break part of the series is its characters, and I think they did a very good job of fleshing out these characters and tying them into the other characters. For example, our main girl is Sarasa Watanabe, a extremely tall girl who dreams of one day playing Lady Oscar and will need to be a top-ranking otakuyaku to do this. She's very outgoing and friendly, and does possess a lot of skill as she can copy other performers to a T, but it's pointed out that while she can copy a performer, she's not putting herself into the role. So her arc is figuring that out, and drawing from her past for inspiration. But she's roommate to the reserved Ai Naruto, a former idol with extreme fear of men, who goes to the academy to escape them. She's rather introverted due to her very traumatic upbringing, but thanks to Sarasa, she starts to deal with her trauma, and comes around to recognizing that she wants to do more than just being in the background, and actually compete for the top roles. But to do this, she'll have to become more expressive and open up more and start the slow process of doing that. But even outside of the two mains, you have minor connections such as Ayako Yamada and Karu Hoshino. Ayako basically comes from a family of bakers and puts into the hard work to reach this level, but it's disheartening to realize she's near the bottom of the class. With the extreme pressure to perform, the nature of the competitiveness between the students to land that top role starting to get to her. While Karu is a daughter of a famous Koka alumni, and has to deal with the pressure of living up to her mother's talent, and the fact that even though she's putting in the hard work, she's struggling to reach that same level. This goes for the entire cast, and they definitely put in the time to these traits and then why these traits exist in flashbacks, be them reminiscing or using a specific moment as inspiration for a role. All of this, I assume, at least somewhat accurately recreates the experience of those who get into theater and pursue it as a career. Again, that is not why I like it. I like it for its strong characters. My only gripe is that based on the fact that this is an adaptation, we will most likely not get to see anymore. I would like to see these characters grow and their occasional fights as they try out for top billing in their class performances. The small taste of rivalries as the different girls compete for the same role showed a lot of promise. But as a complete story, the series is fine, and I think that the characters are very good. So that averages out to good. Probably great if theater is your thing, but still enjoyable even if it isn't.